The act of putting an LP on a turntable and putting the needle on the LP is relatively simple, but there are a few common sense things that you can do to prolong the life of your vinyl. If you're going to put all the money in to hear this record, if you went all the way into the analog world to hear every single thing that artist or band wanted you to hear, why wouldn't you take great care of your records? Why wouldn't you value them like you value anything else that you invest in? Let's talk about the sheer mechanics, the sheer physics of what is happening when you take an LP and you put it onto a turntable. The LP is a disc with lots of grooves. When we put it onto the turntable and drop the needle now is tracking through those grooves. Anything in the way will cause disturbance and trauma to the record and to the needle. And so that's why you never do this. I can't believe I'm doing this. Do not touch your record. It's not a Frisbee. It's a record. It's not a coaster. It's a record. It's not anything to be trifled with. You paid money for this thing. By putting your thumb on it, not only have you put pressure on the grooves, you've put whatever you've been touching into those grooves. Your brave needle must now hack through every single thing you've put in the valley of those grooves. It gets on the needle, it gets into the vinyl, and you don't get the playback that you just paid for. It's very, very simple to pick up a record by the edges. You never need to put your thumb or fingers on a record ever. You should treat a record like something where in 20 years of playing it, it shows no signs of human interaction. That is optimum. So we take the record by its edges. We carefully put it on to the turntable, really trying to line up the spindle and the hole so we don't scratch up the label. Because the label's cool. It's something we want to look at later. So we put it on very carefully. Record players make it easy to take care of your record. The tone arm is going to go onto the LP. It has an arm here that allows us to keep the tone arm and the stylus from touching the record. And so we don't just drop the needle on. Hear the word I just said, drop? We don't want to drop the needle ever onto a record. We want it to lower gently and slowly and introduce itself into the grooves so it never hurts the record. And so this turntable affords us to do all of that, where we never have to get it wrong. And the steps of doing this are super easy. And so the turntable has been activated. The arm is up, which means this is not going to touch the record. We put the needle right between the edge of the record and before the grooves. You have intro non-essential grooves at the beginning of the record so the stylus can be orientated and be sent into the record. We slowly drop the needle onto the vinyl. And there we go. And the needle has made a beautiful slow transition from the air engaging with the vinyl. Say you want to hear that track at the end of the record. If you must hop over 2 tracks, I wish you wouldn't. I wish you'd put a record on and just sit and just listen to the damn thing. But if you must. We do it with this, even though it provides you manual, don't use it, because you should not trust your wobbly hand. So the tone arm is off. We move to the desired track, again, if you must. And manually, slowly, carefully, we put the stylus back down onto the record. So let's say the record comes to an end. There it is, inside the inner grooves. Sometimes the record is grooved to where it sends the stylus slamming into the paper label over and over again. When a record comes to an end, it's not the time to go to the kitchen and do something. It is time to take the stylus off of the record. So as soon as you can, carefully, slowly, you take it off, you bring the tone arm over back to its cradle, and you lower it. You don't want to have the tone arm sitting up in this position all the time. It causes stress on the arm and whatever is keeping it suspended. So it goes down. We turn the record player off. And then it goes back into its sleeve. I like to introduce the record into the sleeve, stabilize it now that I'm not touching it, and gently roll it back in. The record is secure. And that's how you can play your records every day, year after year after year. And you'll never see any scratches or any smudges. And if you do it right, and if you have a good tone arm, and if you have a professional, line the needle up. Don't try it yourself, because if the needle's crooked, you will just gouge your records. If you have a properly placed needle and aligned and weighted tone arm, your records will look and sound the same years and years after purchase. So now that you have safely taken your vinyl off the turntable and put it away in its sleeve, you can enjoy this record years and decades later after playing it all the time. And it's very, very simple to take good care of your records. The turntable helps you, and common sense helps you.